What's up, U-Haul fans? I am Evasive, and Women's History Month is almost over. That's right, to celebrate Women's History Month this year, I brought 3 lesbians and 3 bisexuals to my house, gave them a bisexual pizza, and recorded their reactions while I made them watch the movie where Ben Affleck converts a lesbian. No, not that one, the other one. But here's the twist. In this episode, I am not going to tell you which of my guests are lesbian and which of them are bisexual. I am evasive, okay? I don't have to tell you guys anything. You can figure it out yourself. Just post your theories in the comments. Is that toxic? Maybe. Do I care? No. But before we get into the reaction, let me give you guys some context behind this infamous little film. Kevin Smith. If you don't know the guy, he's a writer and filmmaker from New Jersey who got his start when he maxed out 10 credit cards to create his first film, Clerks, in 1994. Most of his films are set in their own cinematic universe, and these films have developed a huge cult following over the past few decades. Besides his cinematic universe, he's also got a podcast, memoirs, comic books, animated series, comedy specials, dozens of TV and movie cameos, a comic book store, a reality show about his comic book store. In the mid-90s, though, Kevin Smith was struggling. His second film, a $6 million comedy called Mallrats, was a complete failure, and no studio wanted to give him money to make another one. So for his third film, Smith decided to go back to his roots and write a script he could film for a lot less money than Mallrats. His new script, titled Chasing Amy, took inspiration from a few different people, the most obvious being his friend and producing partner, Scott Mosier, who had a crush on lesbian filmmaker and American Psycho writer Guinevere Turner. Turner herself later became involved in the film after Smith brought her the script to review with lesbian eyes. Turner made a few small tweaks and handed the script back with a warning. This is a woman who stops being a lesbian to be with a man. Lesbians are gonna hate this movie. They're going to crucify it. As Smith and Mosier put it though, this idea of guy converting a lesbian was just the hook, but it wasn't really what the film was about.
It's kind of a bait and switch. It's not about bisexuality or being gay or being straight. It's about male sexual insecurity.
Besides Mosier and Turner, Smith also took inspiration from his real-life relationship with actress Joey Lauren Adams and his insecurities over her sexual past. As Smith later stated, "The day I saw disbelief, outrage, and hurt reflected in the eyes of the woman I loved as she realized I was insisting that she apologize for her life up until the moment we met, well, that was the day it struck me that I wasn't quite as liberal as I fancied myself. And rather than enter therapy, I decided to exercise my demons on screen." The script is really one big apology to Joey Adams because I was such a jealous prick. Making Chasing Amy saved me from being that guy for the rest of my life. Smith wrote the script with plans to have his Mallrat friends Ben Affleck, Jason Lee, and Joey Lauren Adams play the leads. When his script was finished, he took it to Hollywood's favorite disgusting little monster, Harvey Weinstein, and asked for $3 million to make the film. Weinstein said fine, but he had to cast David Schwimmer, Jon Stewart, and Drew Barrymore as the leads instead. Smith refused and made a counteroffer. "Let me keep my friends in the movie, and I'll make it for $250,000. Weinstein accepted, and Smith called Mosier with the good news.
Like, I remember I called Mosier and I said, "I got the money." He goes, "Get out of here." I said, "I did, dude. I met with Harvey, and I talked to him, and I asked for the budget, and he gave it to me. In fact, he gave me more." And he goes, "That is awesome, dude, man. How'd you do it? How'd you get him to agree to like the $1.3 million? I thought he cared about the cast." And I said, "What, $1.3 million? No. I said, I asked for 200 grand.
As you might expect with a budget that small, tensions ran extremely high during filming. Smith required the actors to memorize all their lines before filming began so they could shoot each scene as quickly as possible. Producer Scott Mosier was on the verge of a panic attack the entire time. Most of the cast and crew stayed in one rented house together while Ben Affleck slept on Kevin Smith's couch, and Smith and Adams had a huge blowout fight on set that led them to break up after the film's release. But despite all of that, they managed to pull it together and finish the film in time to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival in 1997, where it received a standing ovation and went on to make $12 million and get a neat little pile of awards and nominations too. But who cares, right? How did lesbians and bisexuals feel about this film? Well, There's no easy answer to that. According to the Lesbian Film Guide published in the year 2000, the film seems to articulate the old myth that secretly all a lesbian needs is the right man. However, although it is clear that Alyssa spends most of the movie telling everyone she is totally gay, she is in fact bisexual, plain and simple. It is only her refusal to establish this certainty that causes anguish all around. So why isn't this important fact made clear? One can sympathize with director Smith's dilemma. After all, if Alyssa was revealed as openly bisexual from frame one, there is no dramatic tension. The viewer would simply wait for the two leads to fall in love, and that would be that. But by making Alyssa in theory 100% lesbian, the familiar dramatic thrust of will they, won't they is restored, much to most lesbians' annoyance, who see their sexuality compromised for the sake of a straight male fantasy. Honestly, having only seen this film recently, I don't feel like I'm qualified to talk about this. One person who is qualified to speak on this, though, is Sav Rogers, a trans-masked filmmaker from Kansas who gave a TED Talk about Chasing Amy in 2018.
Chasing Amy had everything that I wanted. The characters were comic book writers, they spoke in romantic monologues about the kind of love that only seemed to exist in movies, and there were openly queer people. And I didn't realize what a big deal that would be for me. I had a movie where the gay and lesbian characters were good. They were not always respected by other people within the film, but they were intelligent and funny and out. They were able to live as their authentic selves. And you know what? The spirit of Chasing Amy kept me alive for years to come, despite the suicidal thoughts that began to permeate from the trauma I was continuously experiencing at school. No matter what I was dealing with, I had this one movie to bring me solace. I once kept this movie in my DVD player for a month. I would watch it at least once a day, every day, for 30 days. Now, to be fair, I didn't know that there were other gay movies.
In the years since this TED Talk, Sav has been working on a documentary titled Chasing Amy that details not only the legacy of the film, but his own experience of transitioning while making the documentary. As of the time of making this video, this documentary is still showing at film festivals and isn't available to watch online yet. But according to a review on Letterboxd from someone who saw it already, the documentary has some explosive revelations, including an intense interview with Joey Lauren Adams where she admits that she does not have fond memories of working on the movie, because her emotionally immature boyfriend was the director, the media treated her badly, and she had to be around Harvey Weinstein a lot. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is if you want a more in-depth analysis about Chasing Amy, be sure to check out Sav's documentary when it releases, because this video is not that. This is a video I made for YouTube to get views, and I feel like I should probably get to that part of the video now. But before I do, this video is sponsored by Care of. Care of is a service that delivers specially curated packs of vitamins and powders uniquely tailored to each person. All you need to do is complete a quick quiz about your health needs and goals, and Care of's team uses this information to create a personalized vitamin pack just for you. When I filled out my quiz, I told them about my age, health, and lifestyle, and said I wanted support with metabolism, skin health, and cholesterol. Care of sent me a personalized pack with vegan protein powder, chromium plus apple extract, astaxanthin, omega-3 fish oil, vitamin C, and digestive enzymes. The omega-3 fish oil is especially important for me because I don't get enough omega-3 in my diet. All of their products are ethically sourced and heavily tested, and all their vitamins come in these handy little packs that are perfect for a busy routine or traveling. Plus, these vitamin packs are made from a plant-based film and are compostable either in your home compost pile or in compost bins if you have them in your area. So if you're ready to get serious about your nutrition, why not give Care of a try? Click the link below to take the quiz and use my code EVASIVE50 to get 50% off your first order from Care of. That's 50% off if you use my code EVASIVE50 at checkout. Thank you so much to Care of for sponsoring the video. Now let's get into the reaction.
Was I the only person alive when this movie came out?
Were you able to read all of this?
When did it
that
come out?
meant
1997.
I was not.
Okay, good.
I was
98, yeah. Okay.
Oh, goddamn.
I was born in 1990. If this isn't based on a comic book, they need to make it into a comic book.
No. Watch it first, then decide if it should be another medium.
Before I start, I just want to say, no, I'm not trying to cancel Kevin Smith or whatever. I haven't seen that many of his movies yet, but the ones I have seen I've liked, and in all the behind the scenes stuff, he seems like a genuinely good guy. But also, I can't talk about this movie without mentioning that all of Kevin Smith's early films had significant financial ties to Harvey Weinstein. They stopped working together in 2008 though, and after Weinstein's crimes were uncovered, Smith immediately severed all ties with him and pledged to donate all future residuals plus $2,000 a month to the nonprofit organization Women in Film. But that being said, this movie hasn't been re-released since 2009, so there is still a very unfortunate special thanks addressed to him in the credits that Kevin Smith hasn't been able to delete yet, which is Anyway, so Chasing Amy opens with a comic book convention in New York City, and this is where we meet our heterosexual hero, Holden McNeil.
What is this?
I kind of didn't even recognize him.
That is a goatee my father has.
To this day.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Holden and his totally platonic friend Banky Edwards are the authors of a weed-themed comic book called Blunt Man and Chronic, which the movie describes as
Bill and Ted meet. Cheech and Chong! I kind of like to think of them as Rosencrantz and Guildenstern meet Vladimir and Estragon.
Oh, he's pretentious.
He's intellectual.
Oh,
He's smarter than his fans.
And now here's a guy with a leather jacket and a cigarette behind his ear who shows up to pick a fight with Banky.
Typical comic book store.
Yeah, they're always
fight.
breaking out into fights at the comic store.
Not the police.
Yeah, already we're so ready now.
He started it, fucking cock knocker!
what does it mean to knock on a cock?
Do you like knock on it? Do you knock at a scan? I'm not quite sure.
Is this thing on?
By the way, this guy here is actually producer Scott Mosier, who was apparently just having an absolutely horrible day when they filmed this scene.
That part's a blur for me. Like, I remember showing up on the day and being like, I didn't remember my lines. I was annoyed that I had to do it. There's just like one more thing. So we bring all those guys in, they bring in all their stands and set them up themselves for free. Everyone's doing it for free. Someone comes over to me like, I don't want to freak you out. There's lights in the ceiling and the sprinklers are starting to drip. And you're just like thinking about what happens when all the sprinklers go off. Your day of shooting's fucked. I've got probably thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage. I mean, I was 26 maybe. I didn't know how to process it. My anxiety was getting the best of me. My internal organs are like expanding and shrinking.
I don't think I ever picked up on the fact that Scott was unraveling.
So after the film's first epic fight scene is over, we get to meet another comic book writer named Hooper X, who is in the middle of giving a speech to an all-white crowd about his comic book called
White hating.
Then Holden and Banky come in and right away stand up and start arguing with Hooper about the racial politics of Star Wars.
Come on, that's a bunch of horse shit. And no, Calrissian was a black guy, you know.
You got Cracker Farm boy Luke Skywalker, Nazi poster boy, blonde hair, blue eyes. And then you got Darth Vader, the blackest brother in the galaxy, Nubian god.
What's a Nubian?
Shut the fuck up. Vader's beautiful black visage is sullied when he pulls off his mask to reveal a feeble, crusty old white man. They trying to tell us that deep inside, we all wants to be white.
Well, isn't that true?
Turns out though, this whole thing was staged. Hooper is a closeted gay guy, and Holden and Banky are actually friends of his, and they were just helping their closeted friend get a little publicity.
Would the audience still buy the whole black rage angle if they found out the book was written by a faggot? When you say it, it sounds so sexy.
Yeah.
This one.
I knew that one of the three guys was about to kiss. I just didn't know when.
And now we get to meet our star lesbian / bisexual, Alyssa Jones. She is a comic book writer too, and her name is Alyssa, not Amy. So who is Amy, you're wondering? Well, keep wondering, because there are no characters in this movie named Amy.
Look out, boys, this kitten has a wig!
Before I get to speak, you did. I swear. Jesus, the next con I attend and they ask me to be in the
This
minority.
movie is, above all else, inaccurate representation of how people working in Wait, I shouldn't say that. All people who work in comics are probably so sexy.
After the convention, Hooper and Alyssa invite our definitely straight protagonists out for a drink, and as comic book artists often do, they get into a heated debate about the sexuality of Archie Andrews.
Archie and Jughead were lovers.
Shut the fuck up.
Archie was the bitch and Jughead was the butch. That's why Jughead wears that crown-looking hat all the time.
That's crazy. Archie is all about pussy. Come on.
Banky and Hooper exit the bar to do a queer analysis of some Archie comics, leaving Holden and Alyssa to get to know each other over a game of darts in front of the bathrooms. And if you watch this scene closely, you'll notice a man leaving the woman's room and a woman leaving the men's room.
I don't know, maybe I should just sign one.
She's really good at darts.
She's a lesbian.
She's a dyke.
She's yay. Of course she's good at darts.
Anyway, enough of New York City. It's time to go to New Jersey.
Ew, Red Bank, New Jersey.
I keep thinking it says Banksy every
Yeah.
time it says Banky. I'm like, well, that's cool.
At Holden and Banky's place, we find our allegedly straight protagonists drawing comics, smoking cigarettes, and talking about their evening plans.
What do you want to do tonight?
I don't know, get a pizza, watch the Grassy Junior High.
No. No. Least pedophilic 90s man.
But before they can finalize their pizza and Degrassi plans, Hooper calls and invites Holden to meet him and Alyssa at Meow Mix, which was a real lesbian bar in New York that closed in 2004. And then Holden demonstrates just how terrible his gaydar is.
This girl loves me. Loves me.
What?
Have you ever spoken to a man and been nice? They think you want to fuck them.
They always think.
You're like, hello. They're like, she is definitely gonna suck my dick.
Obsessed with me.
That night, Holden and his hopelessly broken gaydar arrive at Meow Mix, where he finds Alyssa on what's very clearly a dance floor with 0 men on it. And now we get to learn where she's from.
You're saying you're from the burbs?
Middletown, New Jersey. Middletown, New Jersey. Middletown, New Jersey.
Then Guinevere Turner appears for her cameo and invites Alyssa to sing an original song on stage.
Get up here and sing, bitch.
But this is for that someone special out there.
It's not you, Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but it is her fault for looking directly at
I feel like maybe it's one of the two people behind her.
I'm hoping it's that girl in between them, behind them. Are we all zooming in?
like maybe.
this one, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, they would never have someone who isn't femme. That'd be crazy.
And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for. If you're gay.
His mind just.
Oh no, I played darts with her once. We can't get married now.
There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer's like, wait, there aren't any exits in this bar.
So after that, you'd think Holden and Banky would go home, but no. Instead, they sit at a booth and just like watch them make out. That actress was Jason Lee's wife, by the way.
What? It's rude.
It was a thing in the 90s to make out in front of men because they found it hot.
I think it's still.
It's a thing. It's
very
24
Yeah, I would say
as
still
well.
a thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I thought you guys might have moved on.
No,
That stuck around for sure.
So the other woman leaves, and now Banky and Alyssa are discussing the definition of the word fuck.
Well, how can a girl fuck another girl? Were you talking about strap-ons or something?
Fucking is not limited to penetration, Banky.
Yes.
For me, it describes any sex when it's not totally about love. I'm sure you don't love every girl you sleep with.
Some of them I downright loathe.
It's getting more relatable to me.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of a passionate discussion about eating pussy, Alyssa and Banky start showing off their sexual injuries like they're in that one scene from Jaws.
I'm going down on her, right? And out of nowhere, her cat jumps on her stomach and she does this big old pelvic thrust, cracks my tooth, and sends it down my throat.
That's actually, like, I believe that could happen. I believe a cat jumping and then you getting fucking pounded.
I really appreciated the visual though, because
yeah, I needed that.
Yeah,
I needed
how would
that.
I have ever been able to
And
imagine?
the rear.
Cat jumps.
Junior year, I'm going down on Cynthia Slater in her dorm room after we went club hopping. I fall asleep right in her lap. She got so mad she digs her heel into my back. Right there. That's permanent.
In her kidney.
Does anyone have sexual injuries they've got?
Oh, I have a tendency. I cook a lot. And I have a tendency to pepper, like hot pepper residual hands.
Oh.
Like sometimes it doesn't matter how much you wash them, how much you put on them, and then you go, and then it no one has felt more bad in that moment.
No one has felt more bad
than the person experiencing it and myself. And I have done it more than once.
At this point, Holden has had enough and drags Banky out of the bar. Now cut to the next day, where we find Banky taking a hard right turn into misogyny.
All every woman really wants, be it mother, senator, nun, is some serious deep dicking. That's why I can't buy lesbians. Everyone needs dick.
Yep. Whoa. There it is.
Facts. A bunch of guys that need dick, just plain need it. That I get. Dykes, bullshit posturing.
You know what this movie needs right now? Some 25-year-old Matt Damon.
Here comes the boy, hello boy, welcome.
After the Matt Damon cameo, Alyssa makes a surprise visit to New Jersey wearing the most lesbian jacket combo possible, and together they go to a park to discuss the definition of virginity.
So you're saying a person is a virgin until they've had intercourse with a member of the opposite sex?
Is that the standard definition?
Again, with your standards.
This movie has a lot more like philosophical elements that I thought of. Just like it kind of gives like when someone is like,
what is virginity?
Right.
What is a woman?
Like when
What is a woman? He is giving Ben Shapiro. It's like,
right. Or like
Virginity is lost when
like,
the hymen is
was political.
Guys, we missed the hymen line.
I'm not missing it. I'm
Yeah, we got it. We're focused over here.
Virginity is lost through penetration.
I'm also like not getting the bit that like lesbian sex doesn't have penetration. Like that's not true.
It totally can. There's lots of penetration in my lesbian sex.
Well, where's the penetration in lesbian sex? A finger?
I did go up after a woman who said that fingering is not sex. And I went up and was like, that's homophobic, because these is my dicks.
Observe.
What? Why would she go
You're
straight?
kidding.
I did this in one of my first stand-up bits. I stole this from Chasing Amy. Oh no, guys.
Then after a very confusing scene where Banky shows a porn magazine to a kid in a train station, we get to see a montage of Alyssa and Holden becoming best friends and doing all sorts of best friend things together, like playing skee ball, making a scary looking cake, and hanging out in that one park that's in every New York City movie.
Is this a montage of them being each other's only friends?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a dick cake?
No, it's a booby cake.
Oh, okay.
It's frightening.
So the besties montage ends, and now we find Banky playing a hockey game on his Sega Genesis and throwing out a nice healthy dose of homophobic slurs.
Fucking faggot, man. Did you see that? Your dyke courting ass just got me scored on.
How many times is he gonna
That's the
say
third
it?
faggot,
And
one dyke.
I like how he pairs
I
it
think
with
no,
dyke
he
in
said
most.
that
No, most
Did it in
instances
the
he
bar?
does say dyke.
At least.
He's at
I
least
don't
like
get
4 to 3
Probably
on
NBA.
the FD ratio.
Then Holden starts lecturing him about his use of slurs, which really pisses Banky off.
What does it matter if I refer to her as a dyke? Or if I call the Whalers a bunch of faggots in the privacy of my own office?
Whalers?
I don't know what a whaler is either. A sport team, maybe?
And I know you're not really prejudiced at heart. I just think you should find some other way to express your anger, is all I'm saying.
That's gay.
So gay.
Recognizing that Holden is a visual learner, Banky channels his rage into drawing an anti-lesbian SAT question.
This is a 4-way road, okay? And dead in the center is a crisp new $100 bill.
I'm scared.
Homophobic
Stick to
trolley
Tracer.
problem.
Come on, Tracer. Go back to Tracer.
Over here, we have a male affectionate, easy to get along with, non-political agenda, lesbian. Down here, we have a man-hating...
He's just the tracer, right?
Yeah.
And that's why the diagram sounds so
Oh, did you see it?
I hate men.
Santa Claus, and up here, the Easter Bunny. Which one is going to get to the $100 bill first?
The dyke.
Good. Why?
I don't know.
Because the other 3 are figments of your fucking imagination!
Oh, wow.
What? What is it about this girl, man? You know you have no shot at getting her into bed.
This is intense.
Yeah, they're really getting into it.
It's like at the bottom of this argument is you're friends with a lesbian and that upsets me.
Yeah.
Just say you're sad that you guys don't hang out as much anymore.
Just say you think she's annoying. Why does it
Right,
have to be
exactly.
this?
What the fuck makes this bitch all that important?
Because I'm fucking in love with her, man, okay?
No! No, you're not. Bruh. You've known her like
someone
a week.
I want to name drop so hard right now, but I won't say it. But you know the person I'm thinking of.
So after that bombshell, Holden and Alyssa meet each other for dinner and then drive around with a very silly looking rain machine strapped to the top of their car. And it's at this point that Holden decides that now is the perfect time to tell Alyssa how he feels about her.
I love you. And not in a friendly way. You are the epitome of everything I have ever looked for in another human being.
I think that's what it is she's a guy's girl, and so he's like, I'm obsessed with you because she likes sports and comic books and playing darts.
And I know this will probably queer our friendship, no pun intended.
Ben Affleck, close your mouth.
But I know that some part of you is hesitating for a moment. And if there's a moment of hesitation, then that means...
This is why DMs are a good thing that they were invented. Because now this kind of monologue can just go there.
Sure.
And
Now it's just like, hey, girl.
Right.
That's something I said.
Oh my god.
Now that Ben Affleck's insufferable monologue is over, it's time for the scene that earned Joey Lauren Adams her Golden Globe nomination.
Weren't you at least gonna comment?
Here's my comment. Fuck you.
Why is she so angry? Okay, but she's so angry. No?
You're mad at how angry she is? I'd be angry.
Oh, I would just be like, oh, sweetie, you're so dumb.
I think it's disrespectful. I think it's homophobic.
It was homophobic.
Listen, that's every relationship. There's always gonna be a period of adjustment.
Oh my god, just slap him already.
Oh, period of adjustment, that's...
Yeah, it's just, the whole thing was homophobic and like an affront to who she is as a person.
Well, it's definitely undermining her sexuality, but at the same point, she's so mad.
I would be pissed. I don't know.
Okay, I'm wrong.
I mean, you would never let it get. You would never let it get in this situation.
Yeah, would you have flirted with him for months and been his only friend and made eyes at him? And accepted his booby cake?
I'm not blaming women.
What a great film.
Oh, you just saw the camera people in the window. That was amazing.
Do you know that you can see, did you ever see the crew in the chasing game? Do you know you can see the crew? And very, very, very clearly, very vividly. You could see the crew in one of the shots.
It didn't slip by us. I knew it was there, and I said it was there when we shot it. It's just that the take that Kevin liked the most, or the take that he used, is the one where you actually see us.
And fuck, if I've heard that once, I swear to Christ, I've heard it at least 10,000 times over the course of my life.
So after Alyssa rips him a new asshole, she starts walking back to the train station alone, and then...
Exactly. So just like,
No.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Oh, it's so I'm the only one who knew this was coming. Yeah. It's also a really gross embrace.
If you like to try, there's so much necking over cars.
This movie's awesome.
Also, like, of all men, like, this man.
Oh, that really? Oh, I feel like...
Yeah, that was gross, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel dirty having witnessed it.
Yeah, I hated that.
Now cut to the next morning and...
What I missed.
They kiss.
You missed like
I
up
would
to
be
the
angry. Oh my
before.
gosh.
Okay.
How is that possible?
It isn't.
But they didn't...
I mean, like, okay, this part of the movie has been picked apart and debated for 2 decades already. I don't really think that I have anything intelligent to add that hasn't been said already. You can all debate this in the comments, but to clarify, Kevin Smith has said many times before that he personally believes that sexuality is fluid and social taboos are what prevents more people from expressing bisexuality. And he's also described himself as proud to be bi-curious, not brave enough to commit. But also, this is a movie written and directed by a man about a self-proclaimed lesbian expressing her bisexuality. So, like, you know, just analyze that all you want. I'm not even gonna touch that.
This is all gonna end badly.
Anyway, later that night, Alyssa is hanging out with her lesbian friends, and as lesbians often do, they start asking questions.
But we have such a great time together.
Who is it?
Someone you guys don't know.
Don't even tell me you met her down the shore.
Ew, a bridge and tunnel Jersey dyke with huge hair and acid wash chains.
For your information, they don't have big hair or wear acid wash.
Not the they them. Ben Affleck, the first he they.
Why are you playing the pronoun game?
Another one bites the dust.
After being passive-aggressively exiled from the lesbian friend group, we get to see Alyssa and Holden having some post-sex cigarettes, and, as straight men often do, he starts asking questions.
And why this?
I came to this on my own terms.
I don't think you did. You were so coerced.
I just needed a good deep dicking. Isn't it the theme of the movie?
I remembered why I opened the door to women in the first place. To not limit the likelihood of finding that one person.
She could just be bisexual.
Not an option.
No.
Not real.
No.
No. At this time, it was not a. It was
I
like
get
it
that,
was like
but
a. It was the roller coaster stop to gaydom.
The next day, Banky comes to Holden with an old high school yearbook which shows Alyssa's nickname in high school was Finger Cuffs. And wow, you guys are really gonna love the monologue Smith cooked up for this one.
Alyssa Jones? Shit, I know Alyssa Jones. I know Alyssa Jones. You know what I'm saying? You know what the crazy bitch did? She fucking drops to her knees and just starts sucking them off right in front of me. Like, she don't try to stop me or nothing. She's all wet and shit, and I just start going to work. You know?
Oh, she's just a slut. That's what it is.
Right. Because that day she had us locked in tight on both sides like a pair of goddamn Chinese finger cuffs.
This story really angers Holden because, according to him, Banky is saying disgusting things about his girlfriend. But, of course, that's not the only reason why he's so mad.
Let it go, okay? I'm telling you, she's never even been with a guy, much less these two fucking zeros.
Also, that was so long ago. Who says like she did this in high school? Everyone was a whore in high school.
I think he thinks that she's a virgin, and that's why he's mad.
Yeah, he's
He wants to be the only man who has been in the temple.
Yeah.
This is bad.
He's living out the fantasy
Right,
that
sure.
you're a lesbian until you meet the right guy.
Yeah.
The deep dick.
Which is what she told him also.
Yeah, but she's just like a lightly sexually traumatized bisexual.
Yeah, she's got issues.
Right.
Okay, that's enough street nonsense for one scene. Where is the gay guy? Can we please get the gay guy back in the movie?
So, where's that bitch partner of yours been?
He's back.
Oh, I love him. Where'd he go?
Oh my god.
He was off in a better movie.
So Holden has come to Hooper to ask for his opinion on the situation, both with Alyssa and Banky, and Hooper, as the gay voice of reason, hits him with this theory.
You make it sound like me and him were dating.
Don't kid yourself. That boy loves you in a way that he ain't ready to deal with.
Where Hooper has a lot to say about Banky's bisexuality, he doesn't really have anything to say about Alyssa because she's a woman, and as he puts it,
Screw that all for one shit, all right? I gotta deal with being the minority and the minority of the minority, and nobody supporting my ass.
Holden keeps pressing him though, so Hooper finally calls him out on his bullshit.
Men need to believe that they're Marco fucking Polo when it comes to sex. Anything you can do with a person has probably been done long before you.
Yes.
The scene ends with Hooper giving it to him straight and telling him to just be an adult and talk to Alyssa about it. But because Holden is a man-child who wrote "Here Lies Dick Boy" on his bedroom door, he instead takes Alyssa to a hockey game so he can interrogate her about her sexual past. Which, as I mentioned before, is pretty close to what Kevin Smith did to her in real life.
You know a guy named Rick Darris?
Sure, we used to hang out in high school.
You guys like date or something?
Date Rick Darris? No, we just hung out a lot. This one day, Rick pulled his dick out.
What did you do?
I blew him while Chloe fucked me.
Good for her.
Alyssa is rightly furious at the sheer audacity of this man, so she makes a scene and storms out of the building. By the way, remember how I said that Smith and Adams had a huge blowout fight on set? Well, would you believe me if I told you this was the scene where it happened?
So that day we were shooting the scene in the hockey rink, and we were separated by like 10 deep people. Like she was with Ben in the stands, and I was, about 10 or 12 people away. And I was trying to direct from there.
But I think that would have been bad for anyone when you're screaming.
Totally. It was
at
bad.
each
I should have
other.
just basically got my fat ass up and marched through the 10 seats and been like, pss, pss, or taken her outside to direct. But instead, I was just yelling shit up, and it was getting like, at one point
But
I was
it's like, roll your eyes on that line.
and then you'd yell something back, and I'd be like, just roll your fucking eyes, And that's when she was like, fuck you. So she left, and then I fucking, was out of sorts because I just had a fight with my girlfriend, so I fucking left as well to kind of go home and chase her down.
I didn't
I'm glad
witness
to
any of it. All I knew is I was like, where's Kevin? They were like, he went home. It was like, well, who's gonna direct the movie? What? Kevin went home.
I just remember the next morning, like the aftermath of that fight was you going like, Kevin, you're a terrible director. Like you are a terrible director and you shouldn't direct actors. I came into Mosier that fucking day and I was just like, I'm a terrible director
and I shouldn't direct actors. And he's just like, well, I knew that, but why do you think it, you know?
And then in a crazy life imitating art, imitating life moment, we get to see Alyssa unload on Holden in the parking lot.
What the fuck's wrong with you? How could you do all those things?
Easily! Some I did out of stupidity, some I did out of what I thought was love. But good or bad, they are my choices. And I am not making apologies for them now. Not to you, or not to anyone. And how dare you lay a guilt trip on me about it, in public no less. What the fuck is your problem?
Misogyny.
Girl, leave. The next morning, Holden sheds a single tear while sad music plays in the background, and then he goes to a diner to meet up with the real blunt man in Chronic, Jay and Silent Bob. If you're unfamiliar with Smith's cinematic universe, these two guys are the glue that connects all these movies together. Bob is played by Smith himself, and Jay is played by one of his childhood friends, Jason Mewes. Though play is a generous word because apparently this is just how Jason Mewes acts in real life.
You ever bring bitches to bed with you, get a little filet fish sandwich going on, suck her dry and bust some moves on her?
And then right when you start wondering what the point of this scene is, Bob says the title of the film.
Chasing Amy.
Oh.
What?
You're chasing Amy.
At this point, Kevin Smith delivers a monologue about how he used to be in love with a woman named Amy, but he was horrible to her and dumped her when she admitted she'd had threesomes in her previous relationship.
I wasn't disgusted with her. I was afraid. You know, at that moment I felt small. Like I'd never be on her level. Like I'd never be enough for her or something like that. But by the time I figured this all out, it's too late, man. She moved on. And all I had to show for it was some foolish pride, which then gave way to regret. So I've spent every day since then chasing Amy.
A moment of actual emotional reflection in this movie.
After Kevin Smith finishes exercising his demons on camera, Holden realizes he's made a huge mistake. But because he's also a complete idiot, instead of just apologizing to Alyssa like an adult, he sits her and Banky down on the couch and does the most awkward thing he possibly could.
To settle the score, he's gonna make out with him. I don't know his name. Holden is gonna make out with his friend who looks like Bad Bunny. And then it's gonna even things out. Wait, did I not call it?
We've all got to have sex together.
Did I not say that was gonna happen?
Holden explains that he wants to have a threesome because he wants to feel equal to Alyssa and he doesn't want Banky to be jealous of her anymore, which is, obviously really fucking stupid.
We've been everything to each other but intimates, and now we've been through that together too.
What could go wrong? I will magnanimously let you suck my dick.
For you, for the betterment of you,
for you,
my
yeah,
friend.
for you, obviously. For you. And when it's over, all that hostility and aggression you feel toward Alyssa will be gone because you'll have shared in something beautiful with the woman I love.
I love like the male writers coming to this conclusion.
This whole movie was reverse engineered so this could happen.
It's gonna be cathartic,
like,
guys.
Ash is so straight to be gay.
But naturally, Alyssa is way too intelligent for this, and she tells him exactly why a threesome is a horrible idea.
Doing this won't help you forget about the things you're hung up on. It'll create more.
No, it won't. I've thought about
Yes, it will.
I like how we've just kind of abandoned the fact that she used to be a lesbian. Now it's about something else entirely.
Right, now it's just about her being a former whore. A reformed.
Her having a little bit of fun.
Right. Which, by the way, I condone.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yes, bitch, finally.
But I'm not your fucking whore.
Yes!
So Holden gets what he deserves, and now the movie flashes forward 1 year. Banky is now writing comics on his own, Alyssa has gone back to dating women, and neither of them have spoken to Holden since the incident.
Wait, I really like that this movie ends with him resigning in disgrace. It feels good. And leaving the comic book business. That feels cool.
But he still lurks.
Holden reappears with a comic he wrote called Chasing Amy, complete with a half-naked drawing of her on the cover and her real name in the pages. And based on the melancholy piano music in the background, this is clearly supposed to be a tender moment. I mean,
It was really nice seeing you again.
It was really nice to see you too.
Holden leaves the building, presumably to go smoke another cigarette and cry, and the film comes to an end. Except that's not the actual end of the story, because in 2001, Kevin Smith created Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and at the end of that movie, it's revealed that after the events of Chasing Amy, Banky and Hooper started having sex.
Thanks. That means a lot coming from the guy who pretends to be Shaft as opposed to the guy who takes Shaft.
I don't hear you complaining nightly.
And then way later in 2019, Kevin Smith made Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, where it's revealed that Alyssa later ended up marrying a woman and had a daughter named Amy, with Holden as the donor father.
I know I'm supposed to be teaching Amy stuff, but it's like I'm learning from her every day. So, spend my days chasing Amy.
Yeah.
I will say that men loved it when it came out. Like, boys recommended that I watch it because they loved it. And I think it's the fantasy of, like, I can change a woman and what she wants because all she needs is a man.
It made me really sad because bisexual women complain about men treating them like this all the time, and to see a movie that is so baldly that and just like so wholeheartedly and vocally endorses that really hurt me.
When it was campy, it was fun. I feel like if the whole thing had been that campy, I probably would have liked the movie, because like it would have been spoofing these opinions as opposed to be like, actually, let's have a Socratic seminar on lesbianism.
No, I think that's the problem, is that it's between satire and like almost a documentary on this guy's experience with a lesbian woman.
It's never clear why he loves her either. Like he never even, like, I was like, maybe it's because like she also does comics and like there's not a lot of women in comics, but like that's never even, like, he's just like, I love her and I want to have her babies. But like, you'd think he would have fabricated something. Like.
I also think it's weird because like by the end of it, once they get together, he only gets like re-mad at her because of the threesome thing. It has nothing to do with her being a lesbian.
I feel like he made it because he thought that he had something political to say, but wasn't totally clear on what that was.
I feel like he thought he really understood something that no man does, and that he was hitting at something very deep and profound.
I was saying that the whole time. Like, I'm so glad of the people that I surround myself with. Like, of the family that I have chosen to keep around me, because I don't have to have these conversations unless it's like strangers or people after a show. Like, oh, are you sure you don't need a good dick? Like, no, I don't. Thank you.
As for my thoughts on this, well, after going through this movie scene by scene and doing all this research, I just don't really know how to feel about this film. And, well, you know, I am evasive, so I don't have to give you my opinions anyway. But if you came this far and you still want a more in-depth look at the film, be sure to check out Sav Rogers' documentary when it comes out, because whatever he said in that, I'm sure is 100 times more impactful than anything I could write for a silly little YouTube video. Anyway, thank you for watching my silly little YouTube video. If you want to see more of me for whatever reason, please follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty active on there now. And also follow me on Letterboxd if you're one of those people. And if you want to see the full recording of the Lesbians and Bisexuals watching Chasing Amy, I will have that up on my Patreon, link in the description below. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters, by the way. I really appreciate you guys. And as a special treat to you, I'm going to use the brand new green screen that I bought with my Patreon funds to make probably the best green screen joke money can buy. And here it is now. Special thank you to my highest tier patrons: Ajax, Alexis Angiano, Andrea Morton, Andrew Coro, Andrew C., Aurora Borealis, Big Bandy, Bob the Pinecone, Brandon Crane, Bruno, Caleb Fortner, Carlton Barzon, Doc Davis, Dylan Zahner, Fuzzy Numbers, Garrett Abelin, Gary V. Walters, Jane Elwood Strawberry, Joshua Grimsley, Kit, Lucas Probably, Mick LeClaire, Neurodivergers, Pigeon Rose, Pooh Bear Thought, Richard Brown, and Zoe B.